everybody, this is Cathy from Cathy Cuts Paper. I'm an independent Fun Stampers Journey coach. Fun Stampers Journey in May and June of 2016 is retiring some of their items. They're 40% off of their normal price. They're retiring them so that they have room in their catalog for all kinds of new things. So I thought what I would do is a series of videos so you can see not only some of the things that are retiring, but also what you can do with them. So we're going to get started with that. The next card we're going to be doing is this one. The chandelier is from a stamp called Elegante. We have a script very faintly in the background, and then we have the sentiment. I'll show you what these stamps are, and these are all from the ones that are retiring in 2016. First is script. This is a fairly large background stamp. Then we have Elegante, which is the chandelier. It's beautiful. Then there is Little Big Greetings. Now this is a very useful stamp set because it comes with 30 different sentiments that you can use. We are also using the Journey ovals, which these are not retiring, but they're very, very useful. And I wanted to show you one thing in the Journey ovals. They're not just an oval die. They also, this would be your die that cuts. And this is the next size down. You can nest these, and there's a piercing element in this one, which you will see as we're going to be using the piercing element and the cutting out die in the project today. The first thing we need is a sheet of oatmeal cookie. Now this particular color is really, really useful. It's not a solid, it's very slightly heathered. So it's good for both female, male cards, and also if you want to do anything with a vintage feel to it. I took a sheet of 8.5 by 11, cut it across, so now it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored it at 4 1/4. So this is our card base. And I'm going to use my bone folder, get a nice sharp crease on that, and set it aside. The next piece that we're going to need is another sheet of oatmeal cookie. Now this sheet of oatmeal cookie is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. This gives you just a little edge around that you can see here. We're going to take this piece, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our script stamp. And I'm going to show you a technique with this. Here it is. You can see it's quite large. We're going to take hazelnut blend and stamp that up. Now if we immediately stamped it onto our oatmeal cookie, it would be quite dark. But you can see here I wanted it very faint. So I'm going to stamp off. That's when you take a piece of scratch paper and push down. You can see how dark that is. Then we're immediately going over. And you can see we have some areas darker than others, and we have some that are very, very light. So that's the technique we're doing for that background. Then, and I need to get stuff out of the way because I make a mess with this technique, we're going to be using the silks. This is a metallic, and it comes in a lot of different colors with Fun Stampers Journey. You can see it has the metallic in the bottom. We want to get that mixed in. Sometimes I get carried away and I end up wearing this stuff, so we'll see. And it does look like a nail polish bottle. It even has a brush like a nail polish bottle. You do this. See how it's splattering there? And that's why I have paper underneath, because I splatter all over the place with it. This is going to dry. This color is called bronze, by the way. It almost ends up with a cross between a bronze and coppery color. It's beautiful. So we'll set this aside to dry. We stopped the camera because I noticed that I had silk freckles on my arms and hands. So I'm all clean now, so we'll continue. For the little medallion that we're going to do here with the sentiment, which the sentiment is Remember When, you take a 2.5 by 3 inch piece of whipped cream. We're going to stamp it in hazelnut blend. Alrighty. Then we are going to cut this out using the oval pierced dies. So I have my cutting plate, I have my paper, I have my dies, so you put the piercing element down right where you want it. Then you put the regular cutting edge, and it may take you a minute or so to get them nested exactly how you want them. Then you take your low tack tape, and again, you can take washi or low tack masking tape, put it on your skin, pull it off, and it removes some of the tack. So, because the main purpose of that is so you don't tear your paper. Okay, then I'll run it through. Okay, now I showed you in part 1 about the journey tool, or the bloom tool, and how it has a whole bunch of attachments. The spatula, this is one time it's really good. You see the piercing element has poked all those little holes. Getting it out is not the easiest thing in the world just with your fingers. So if you slide the spatula underneath and you just slide it around, people who try and do this without a tool like this are flabbergasted when they see how easy this is. Then what we're going to do is take our hazelnut blend and we're going to edge this. This is just a makeup sponge. There's all kinds of different tools you can use for this. But we're just going to go around. There we go with that. And you can see how that looks with the color and the piercing element. It's a beautiful technique. Now what we're also going to do, we need to edge this piece of paper that we had with our background and our bronze silk. We're going to edge this too. And again, it's just flicking this on the edges. There's really no right or wrong way. If it's perfectly even, that's fine. If it's not perfectly even, that's fine too. What you're doing is just trying to add an element of definition, which will show between this piece of oatmeal cookie cardstock and the card base. Okay, see? And I save the sponge. I use it for any time I'm using this particular color. Okay, now what we're going to do is on this piece, we're going to stamp the elegante, which is the chandelier. And I'm going to be doing that with embossing ink. And embossing ink, it's sticky and it doesn't dry quickly. It stays moist for a fairly long time, which gives you a few minutes to actually get your embossing powder on there. And we're using white embossing powder. When you stamp with embossing ink, you're pretty much not going to be able to see what it is. It's very hard to see what's there. However, when we put our embossing powder on it, and yes, I know I dump a lot of it, but most of it goes back into the container, so it doesn't matter. See, you can see part of it. You can see it to a certain extent. You can see where you put it. Put the powder away. Put the lid on so it doesn't go places we don't want it. And oh, I wanted to tell you, with embossing, don't leave your item on the table and use your heat gun on it. It will melt whatever's underneath. I have a friend who had the varnish on her nice work desk melted and almost caused a fire because of someone doing that. So be careful. So what you do is when this is heated up, hold your paper in the air. If it's too small, use a pair of tweezers, okay? Just a safety tip. Okay, so watch how quickly this will change. There you go. Isn't that beautiful? And it just takes a minute to cool down. So we're going to take, while that cools down, because it cools really quickly, we're going to do the interior of our card. And that's just a piece of whipped cream cardstock that would be 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So I'll use the Easy Glide tape runner again. There's always something you can be doing on your cards while something is either drying or cooling or whatever it's doing. See, there's the interior. Then we will do our runner on the front. Now, when you emboss cardstock, sometimes it will work just a little bit. But when you adhere your edges down, that all goes away. So then it's not an issue. Then we're going to take our sentiment, which is Remember When, and we're going to put this up on Journey foam squares. They're dimensional. You can see it's about 1/16 of an inch. It's enough to raise something up and give a nice extra dimension to your piece. So I'm putting 2 of them on there. And there we go. Here's the original, and here's this one. You can see I actually got more ink on the second one, so the white shows up better. I think I actually prefer that. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this class. So, I hope you enjoyed this project. Remember, these items are 40% off during May and June of 2016 or until supplies are gone. So if you want them, you can go ahead and get them from me at funstampersjourney.com/CathyCutsPaper. In the upper right-hand corner, it says Shop. Click on Shop, and it will give you a box to put in the item number. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me at Cathy@CathyCutsPaper.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.